Hello. For some reason, the wonders of technology, the microphone just disconnected itself without any reason. I blame Microsoft. When in doubt, everything is Microsoft's fault. Alright. So, Microsoft, thank you for ruining our audio. Very hot, guys. I had to gather my energies. Sorry for the late start. I've got Baghdad-like temperatures in my office. So, game analysis stream. I'm going to stick with the game analysis. No energy for playing tonight. What about you, Schieberspieler? They're still doing the All-Star Arena? Are you... I still have command line. You don't use your command line, Bob? The All-Star Arena is finished. So, back to over-the-board chess for me next week. Next Friday, a week from tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not going to do Bundesliga tonight. I just don't have the energy. This heat is like really oppressive. Let's just focus on analyzing games tonight. I've got quite a few games, actually. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 already. And probably a few other people will come along. Subscribers. So the theme of Thursday nights is subscriber game analysis. I'm not going to play any Blitz tournaments tonight or anything. Just too brutally hot. Ponda's here with me. Welcome, guys. We're going to get started. Actually, I think my first blindfold analysis. Turkey Farm, were you here the other day when I had the weird game? When some of my pieces were missing? You were here at a recent stream. I'm not sure if it was that one. We had a last round game where just the knights and bishops were missing. We were playing with all the other pieces. Maybe one bishop was visible. One pair of bishops was visible and the other minor pieces were missing. That was really weird. I don't know if it's a regular bug. Yeah. So, no, serious analysis. That's gonna... Our audience is gonna lead the building. People hate thinking by principle. But I prefer thinking. Alright. Welcome, guys, to the stream. I've got games from Jim, Antoni, Igera, Warnaki, Princess, Astrobate, Move 11. If you're not on the list and you think you deserve to be, send me a doctor's note and a good reason why to include you. Alright, guys. I need my coffee, a deep breath, and we're going to get to work analyzing some serious games. Schieberspieler sent a game. Mysterious. Schieberspieler, where did you... I know you said this. You said you sent a game. But did you send me a game? Seriously? I'll take your word for it. Where did you send me a game? To messages here on lichess? Or you did something like send it on Twitch? You sent me a message on lichess? I think you must be banned or something. Maybe lichess banned your private messages. He just doesn't know about it. He's been cursing out his opponents when he loses. Rarely in rapid chess. Schieberspieler has been chat banned, but isn't aware. Yeah, I remember that, Schieberspieler. Fonza Curry was the one who was chat banned? A lot of people get chess banned. Chess ban. Chat ban. I'm not taking challenges now. I'm in. Tomorrow morning, if you'd like to play. Sidan, you messaged me, but it's a subscriber stream, so you have to be a subscriber to the stream to get a game analyzed. Alright. Jim, Antoni, Igara. We're going to put Schieberspieler in there. But Schieberspieler, I guess I just didn't get a notification. I'll check now. Maybe I didn't notice it. My messages, I hate the lichess messaging system. Yeah, Sidan, only if we have extra time. I mean, which is unusual. So no DK guy? No, DK guy did not submit a game. What am I doing? I'm misspelling. I always misspell Schieberspieler because the CH. What is a Schieber anyway? I don't know what a Schieber is. Alright. Messages. Yeah, he said the game that made me an FM. Why do I not get a notification about this? What the heck is going on? It was even today, and there was no notification at all. In honor of Schieberspieler's FM game, we're going to do his game first. Rolly. So, what round was this? What round was this in the tournament where you played? Was it in the end of that last tournament, round 6? Kind of in the middle. So I don't know who your opponent is. I don't know. Christoph Koldemar. How strong is this player? Another Hungarian prodigy. What is his ELO rating? 21? 12-year-old 2100. Okay, I'm so used to playing C5. Schieberspieler, do you ever play C5 against knight F3? Nothing like a stuck-up 12-year-old. Very refreshing. You do sometimes play C5. Okay, so D5, C4, E6, and now G3. Yeah. The Radi is hopeless, so white has to play the Catalan. So Schieberspieler here plays a kind of unusual move. D takes C4. But this is kind of maybe a good choice because it's not as common as the other moves. Well, you played something similar against me where you took on C4 in a surprising moment, which I wasn't prepared for. And I've seen you do it in some other games. So you like snapping this pawn in sort of surprising situations. But if you look at the statistics, I mean, black's scoring okay here. You got about 1,000 games, and black seems to be doing fine. Pawn grubber. So I don't know much about this. Takes on C4. I mean, I like when I'm white to play knight A3 when it's possible. Anonymous gifter, gifting a tier 1 sub to the community. Patient Chess got the sub, and that's cool because I don't like to play bullet, and I like to have a nice long interesting analysis session. So I think it's fair that Patient Chess got the gift sub from the anonymous gifter today. Your Tarish, yeah, I mean, it's consistent. You know, this funny, the Schieberspieler, I started to think that the closed Catalan, even though it's worse than the open Catalan, was a better choice for playing for a win. I mean, that's actually an old theory of mine, but in the spirit of Magnus Carlsen and playing the Stonewall Dutch, objectively, if you want to win, probably want to keep the game as complicated as possible. But these pawn grabby kind of lines, they're tricky. You'll leave when Sladgie starts this game. What's that? Oh, the DK guy? We're still joking about that. So white played queen a4 check. It always seems like queen a4 check is not usually the best move in these types of positions, but maybe here it's okay. Standard, he like takes here, he'll pop back to c2. I don't want to turn on the engine, but I like the opening book to be open. Like, why does white not want to take this pawn right away? Here. We have time for a6, b5, and bishop b7. I would want to know why you wouldn't want to take this. He isn't in a hurry. Alright. Maybe it doesn't matter. Now he's in a hurry. I mean, it may matter, though. If you're able to play, like, c5 and b5, it may matter. I mean, that's the reason why the Catalan is good for white, because black has a hard time achieving c5. But if you get in c5 and b5, you've, like, equalized. So it feels like maybe it does matter, you know? What does it matter? It might matter. What happens if he takes first, and then you play a6, and then he plays some move here, bishop g2, or queen c2, b5, bishop g2, bishop b7. You got it in, but white could play, you know, like d4 or something. White's score is not good here either. It does look like a good system. What's up, Jim? Well, maybe queen a4 just isn't best. What about knight a3? What are you going to do? You're going to take? This is clearly the most dynamic move. Anyway, I don't want to get into an opening discussion, but you're going to have to play bishop takes a3, right? I don't know. And then white has to decide whether to play this like long-term gambit. Once I almost lost with black against this famous American chess writer named Jerry Hankin. He was like a 2200 player. He talked a lot. I came very, very close to losing to Jerry. Maybe it was a draw finally. But playing like black in this type of thing. White can get a scary sort of initiative if black's not prepared. That's more dynamic. Okay, queen there. Remember, white is a low-rated player, and he's playing Schieberspieler. So he's like happy to get a draw, probably. And now queen b3. This is a surprising move. Normally queen c2 in this type of structure, but maybe white has a specific plan. White has a specific plan to hit your bishop on b7 with something like a4. I mean, why queen b3? Normally the queen doesn't go here, it's more exposed, right? He's going to get hit by knight c5. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the normal choice is queen c2. And this is also an idea. That's normal in some other Catalan lines. You don't do the acerbate maneuver in this position. It's better to play rook b8. There are similar positions in more normal lines. I wouldn't play queen b3, but maybe as an idea. Like you said, it puts pressure on b5, so you can play maybe a4, but you're always getting knight c5. If a4, knight c5, and now you hesitated, you didn't play c5. I'm always nervous. I want to get c5 in before it's too late. You're giving white the chance to play d4, but probably it doesn't matter. d4 is not a problem anyway. He can't stop c5. Alright? So, and now d3. I had this like nightmare game when I was 2200 where my opponent played like c5. I played e4 at some point. I remember, I'll never do it again, but it was some position where I ended up playing e4, and my opponent went like knight b8, knight c6, d4, and it was like a very important positional lesson. White has to be really careful about like playing e4 in this type of structure. But inherently his position is passive. I had a game like a draw with Farago Ivan a few years ago, but my queen was on c2. More standard type position. We had a blitz game in that line. This is his game. So knight c3, wow. Alright, I don't know. I've never played this line for either side. But it looks like his opponent is probably well prepared. The 12-year-old prodigies in Hungary tend to know too much opening theory and not enough just like, you know, two-move tactics. But it's funny, like he knows to play knight c3 in this position, which is apparently the main move. I mean, normally the plan would be probably like queen c2, b3, bishop b2, knight on bd2. But with the queen on b3, he doesn't have that. You know, it's not that common to put your knight on c3 in the Catalan. This is a Reti, not really a Catalan. Alright, so what's the plan for white? I mean, where is the knight going from here? That's what I don't really understand. But I mean, Spidler played it. Alexandrov played it. He's going to try to play a4. I know you're black. You're not talking to me, probably. Well, I mean, a4 is an idea. I wouldn't know if I would call it. I don't know if I would call it a threat. It's an idea. But it's double-edged. Because in some situations you're playing b4. It remains to be seen if it's a threat or not. Yeah. So if it comes to a4, b4, I mean, though, where does his knight go? Like knight a2? Knight a2 is always terrible. Knight, you know, where's he going to go? Knight e4, knight d1, knight b1. Okay, this is the best. Here, wow. That's weird. I'm skeptical. I don't feel like you have to play knight d5. It has the two draws there by good players. It doesn't feel like the most natural move. I would guess there might be better. So if c5, a4, this looks like a fluid way to play. Wow. Bishop c6. This is probably correspondence. So you can hold the position with some kind of fluid moves like this. Maybe. Normally you want to keep the pawns fluid. How does this work? Take, rook takes, queen takes, knight takes b5, queen b7 or queen b8. You're winning a piece. Alright. Anyways, so there's various ways to try to play this. Black's totally played correctly, but knight d5 looks not really what we want to do against a weaker player. Ideally. I mean, you're trading pieces, your position is very solid, but we've got to beat this guy. And now a weird move by white. The other rook, because a4 plays a large role in this. a4 knight c5. Queen c2. Oh, you're talking about before castles. So his problem is this. Bishop d2. If a4, knight c5, queen c2, knight c3, queen c3, and you're saying this is hanging, you can't take on a4. This actually happened in this game between Stangl and Dizdar. Does he sack a pawn? No, there's no threat. I mean, black is okay here. Your structure is a little bit weak, right? You're worried that you might have a slight weakness. If you're playing like Yoji Horvath or something, maybe. But for most people, you're not going to have a problem. So this is weird. He plays ac1. If a4 is going to be a plan, then we're going to play rook fc1. But now it's too late. You basically prevented him from playing a4. Because you haven't played c5. You're preventing him. I mean, I think that your play is very good against a stronger player. But I'm wondering if you're playing stylistically the right way against a weaker player. This is the way the Schieberspieler plays, though. Prevent everything and then slowly beat the opponent. It's a good style. I mean, I do the same often, but usually I'm a little more aggressive against weaker players. Rook a c1, now c5. Now that a4 is not an issue, this is totally correct. Now black is fine. So you've like totally equalized, maybe more. Yeah, look at the knight on c3. I mean, you're probably going to get a little more draws than a lot of people, but less losses. c5. I mean, what's white going to do now? He doesn't want to take. If he takes, you take with the bishop. Actually, how do you take if he takes? You take with the pawn? And you're pushing c4? That looks pretty strong. I mean, the point is, like, if he takes with the bishop, he has queen c2, and the pawn is poisoned because the bishop takes in b3. I'm just thinking if a weak player wants to play for a draw here, he's got good chances of drawing. I would definitely take the other way. Against a stronger player, I would take with the bishop. Yeah. But I don't know how he doesn't exchange pieces. Rook d1. Yeah, I mean, we need to trade pieces here. Not that easy for you, though. Okay, he waits. Don't want to wait too long to trade pieces here. Wow, d4. How does that work? Yeah, I mean, if I'm him, I'm trading knights at some point. More interaction. I'm sorry, DK guy. Did I ignore you? Bishop f6 in the end? No, I didn't mean to ignore you. Go check out King Crusher. You guys can talk about bullet chess. Bishop f6 at the end of the other line? We were talking about this. If a4, knight c5, queen c2, knight takes c3, queen c3. Not this position. But I thought we were talking about that position, where the knight's hanging on c5. I'm not sure, but I didn't mean to ignore you. Absolutely, guys. Everybody's welcome to join the analysis. This is Schieberspieler's game. Oh, queen takes g7. You want to allow queen takes g7? Oh man. Players like Schieberspieler and I will never. We're never gonna listen to you. We're never going to listen to you and play that. We're too solid for that. That's not even a consideration. We're not going to let our kingside structure get decimated. Where was I? If a4, knight c5, queen c2, knight c3, queen takes c3, knight takes a4. I mean, this king is never going to be 100% safe now. It's not about, just the king and the pawn structure as well. I agree it's not worth it. It's just dangerous. The long-term ramifications toward the black king, and I wouldn't roll those dice. Yeah, it's good to consider it. We shouldn't shut out DK Guy's suggestion. But it's just, it seems unnecessarily risky. Alright. But I think just something that we stylistically wouldn't consider. I'm very surprised by d4. It feels like that shouldn't work somehow tactically. But f2 is guarded. I mean, are you going to go for it with like c4? Asterbate, thanks for the donation. This is a really risky move by white. I mean, seriously. I would think like c4 would be better for black already. This actually looks really good. Capablanca. We have a clear pawn majority. I mean, DK Guy, what do you think about that? You would probably like that. I think I actually like this. We got to make sure the white center doesn't get out of control, but I don't think there's any real threat. Black's pretty well organized here. Pass pawn 9899. I mean, normally the center pawns are more dangerous than the wing pawns, but this is a pretty good mobilized queenside majority. I think the black's probably better here. +1. Schieberspieler playing it safe with rook c8. I'm not sure that white has a great move. Take on what? Well, I don't like white's d4. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't understand this move. He's just a kid doing something, There's no deep thoughts behind the move d4. It looks very dangerous. With white, I would be very concerned with c4. With black, I would be very interested in c4. With white, I would never consider playing d4. I would exchange on d5 and say, draw please. I would exchange on d5 and beg for a draw, knowing that I was slightly worse with white. That's definitely what we should do. So Schieberspieler waits, and then white plays a4. Now it looks like white's actually helping black. Maybe white's helping black to create a faster pass pawn or something like that. I mean, c4 is still... Man, this looks really good. You got to be seriously better here. I'm still interested in c4. He takes, let's see what he's got. Are you winning like the a4 pawn or something? Ah, so there's a little tactical trick. So we can't take. Can we take? We can take. Oh my god. We can take. Dude, what if queen takes a5, knight d5, bishop d5? Queen takes a5, knight takes d5, bishop takes d5. You got that shit. There's a slight problem. I guess it doesn't quite work. But you got to at least consider it. Knight takes c3 was a possibility. Whoa. Wow. Takes with takes here and takes on c1. Alright, let's see. So queen a7, rook takes d4. You didn't win any material. White's slightly overextended his a5 pawn. Wow. Okay, so bishop takes, knight e4. Bishop takes, knight e4. What do you do? And there's other interesting moves like bishop d5. The main point is this, though. Rook takes. Extremely dangerous position for white, like check here. Rook d1, bishop f1. I mean, I still don't see a forced win. But it is really dangerous. Damn. Queen c5 is game over. I just turned on the engine. I just thought white was hanging on, but I couldn't believe it, you know. Queen c5 and this. So he can't get away with that. He would have to take with the pawn. And again, we're in a structureville. Although maybe he could put his knight on d4. You saw queen c5. So he gets the structural disadvantage now. I'm looking at stuff like queen b7, trying to play like knight d3. If I can play it, you're clearly better. And now he's losing a5. And this outside pawn is decisive. I mean, for me, the part where he played like d4 was really weird. Yeah, I mean, Schieberspieler is a good technical player. And this player is probably the opposite of that. You have bishop takes c3 now with a flash tactic. Ooh, exclamation point. Swift tactics. Now two connected pass pawns. Oof, this is just brutal. Bishop d6, dominating the knight. He would have e4. It's just a matter of technique, it's over. We don't really need to see more. Alright, please resign. He didn't resign. That's embarrassing. Check. Yeah, good game. Alright, that was a long one. Schieberspieler feature analysis. That's the game that made him a FIDE master. Thank you, kid. Thank you, kid, for your rating points. Alright, guys, Jim is up. Move 11 wanted to submit a game. I got DK guy. Oh no. So Schieberspieler will leave when the DK guy comes up. Bob submitted a game. So it's like, Bob, I don't know if we'll have time. Bob, DK guy, and move 11. I'm not playing Blitz tonight, so we'll probably get to most of the games. That was a classic Schieberspieler game. It would have been harder if you had gone and done c4. It would have been a more difficult process, winning the game. See, if you had played c4, he wouldn't have been able to lose so easily. Alright, what do we got? So Jim is up. Jim is up. If I can find it. I don't like the messages here. It's just a mess. For example, I didn't even get a notification when Schieberspieler sent me a game. So like Rossador, hi Bill if you have time. Like, we received no notification that I got that. And Yevgeny even submitted a game 29 minutes ago. I'm not getting any notifications that I'm getting messages. This is crazy. What's up with the messaging system? Yevgeny 29 minutes ago. Hey, here's my game. No notification. El Rossador. Hey Bill, if you have time. No notification. And those... Bob. So El Rossador was 10 minutes ago. Yevgeny was right before Bob. El Rossador was more recent. So I don't know, I have a lot of games. I'm not sure we're going to get to all of them. What's that? I think that's why Sladgie just went through it quickly. Notifications were silenced? How would notifications get silenced? Maybe you have to refresh the page? No. I don't understand. Now I got a notification. Jim just sent me this. It came up. It just seems kind of random. Like, I got that notification. I don't really understand why sometimes I'm getting notifications and sometimes not. That's the thing that's going on. Alright, Jim. Jim is white. What is this game? 1-0. The Bullet. Guys, please support the stream. Donate, subscribe. You didn't get my notification on Tuesday? Warnaki? Yeah, I got yours. You're in there. I mean, Jim, Antoni, Igara, Warnaki, Princess, Asterbait, Move 11. But these guys are all last minute submissions. Schieberspielers was missing. DK Guy, Bob. For some reason, I just stopped getting notifications. I'm not really sure how it works. So anyway, Jim likes to play b3. We see this a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's funny, like, bishop takes f6 is... It's okay. But it's nothing special for white. Yeah, I also prefer not to give that bishop up. Cheers to Beastie Parda. Beastie Parda from Menorca. Where are you from? Mallorca. Close. I've never been to Mallorca. Palma de Mallorca. They used to have famous chess tournaments there back in the day. E3, bishop g7, d4, castles, knight f3, d6. So this is like one of these Nakamura. Nakamura likes to play this. Jim and Nakamura have a very similar style. They both like playing b3. Maybe Jim's hero is Nakamura. He also likes this bishop e2, e3 type of stuff as well as b3. I never realized how closely related the e3, bishop e2, and the b3 systems are. I don't really follow Hikaru's like bullet chess repertoire. So knight on bd7. I mean, classically, like they used to play stuff like this. I don't know where this stands. Like, theoretically. What do you think? Where is the e5 theoretically? I don't know. I just hate knight on bd7. It feels very passive for black. What do you guys think? The old standard takes, knight g4, knight d7, knight g4, knight d7. I don't have time for challenges right now. Takes, knight g4, or knight d7. That looks standard, and you play stuff like queen c1, c4. Kramnik would like this for white. But I like e5, it feels more active. Ugh. Well, how bad can b6 be? What's the point? I mean, can you play d5? If b6, there's only one game of this move. Can you play this? I mean, it creates the possibility for white to try to do this. Of course, black can try to undermine that. Mikhail Kalinin, who I played some games with in America. He's a grandmaster, a lower rated grandmaster. We had some games at the Boylston Chess Club in Boston and in the New England Open once. Knight on bd2. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. d5 is interesting. Jim's more active than Kalinin. Kalinin played knight on bd2. This is a better square for the knight. It may or may not be better for the bishop on b2, though. It does support d5. But now you can't play d5 without allowing maybe knight e4. Maybe that's not a problem. That's funny, there's another Kalinin game. He lost to Kishmatulin here. He was a really, really solid player, a little bit passive. We had just draws for a GM, but he was a legitimate GM. Now he would be older, probably around 60. Okay, this is totally correct, Jim. I just want to think about d5. I agree with Schieberspieler. I'm hesitant to play d5, but you want to at least try to consider it. If it works, it can be very strong. You know, we want to think about it seriously. And that's why black played a6, to stop knight b5 so he could do queen e8. It's a very awkward kind of domino effect. Fischer famously allowed like knight b5 in a Bobby Fischer famously allowed like knight b5 in an old game where he was black in the King's Indian Petrosian system or something, where he had to move his queen back after knight b5. But this is all rather artificial for black. To have to play, I like the double fianchetto too, but it's a6 and queen e8. It's taking a long time. I mean, if black plays e5, you can play d5 and shut him in. Or you can keep the tension, it's up to you. I would consider something like rook d1 here. That's what you did, rook ac1. I mean, basically it's like white is playing the ready opening and black is, black is white playing the ready opening and white is the black side of the ready opening. The standard setup is like rook f, rook c1, the queen b1, queen a1. But can you Should you and can you play d5? The moment of truth. This is a bullet game. Sadly. Well, the Fischer endgame is featured in number 4, Analyzing the Endgame book. Maybe Bob has that. He has all of John Spielman's latest editions. Number 4 deeply analyzed the Bobby Fischer ending. Fischer, Spassky Fischer, 1972. But the joke about taking on H2. Guys, I was telling somebody recently, you know, Camel Culture, what's up? I never studied that many of Fischer's games. I have a large collection of his games. But I think essential reading is Fischer's 60 Memorable Games. I mean, if you never studied Bobby Fischer's 60 Memorable Games, you're missing a very important book. Everybody should study My 60 Memorable Games. Probably one of the best chess books ever. The only book really written by Fischer. So, it's kind of unique, you know. The only actual Bobby Fischer chess book. There was this cheap book called Bobby Fischer Teaches Chess, which he later sued the publisher for publishing. Just a stupid book of chess puzzles and stuff. That was one of the first books that I got when I was a kid. Thinking everybody thinks, oh, this is a Bobby Fischer chess book. But it was not even he didn't even give us permission to publish that book or whatever. Anyway, it's a bullet game. I mean, d5 should be seriously considered here. Again. I don't know how Schieberspieler feels about this. It's kind of a matter of taste, but I like killing this bishop on b7. We had a similar game on my stream the other day, yesterday. It's plus, pretty solid plus. But it's a totally bad style of position for playing bullet chess, to be honest. You don't want to play this position in bullet chess. I mean, your move is okay. Black doesn't have a great move. Pushing e4 may or may not be a good move. I'm not really sure. You want to keep the position more fluid, I would think, in bullet. Wait for the opponent to make a mistake. And objectively, it looks equal. Unless this pawn is a weakness. Technically, Black has more space due to the pawn on e5. I don't know, maybe you have c5? You can try to do c5. But it's weird. I don't know. I don't know. Black has b5 after that. Or just ignores it. He doesn't have to react to this. I mean, obviously, if he takes, he has a bad game. But it seems like a try. Jim's just making, you know, a kind of obvious bullet move. But slowly, there's not that much left here. White has a little bit of pressure down the c file, e4. Black can play f5. Wow. I feel like I saw this game already. You know what it is, Jim? I realize now. I looked at this game when you sent it to me. It's like this flashback. I'm sitting here thinking this is the first time I've seen the game, but it just occurred to me that I did go through it when you sent it the first time. Okay, so black basically made a very brave move. White can push d6, but the pawn is isolated and can be blockaded. Situation is very sharp after that. Rook d8. Rook d8, rook d7. It looks like very difficult to break the black blockade. 19, bishop f3. Truly microscopic advantage for white. You would require Schieberspieler-like technique. Of course white is a little better here, but it's still likely a draw. You're not pushing it? He's going to be able... Oh, you mean bishop f3 now? No, it's too late. He doesn't have Schieberspieler technique. So he takes and black blunders. He has to take with a rook and take with a queen, right? But he takes with a bishop. Just like a wild move. Maybe it's not a blunder suit. He actually saw bishop takes g2. Ah. It's not a blunder. Black has bishop takes g2, queen e8 check, and take on a6. I missed this the first time around. So bishop a6, bishop g2, king g2, queen e8 check, king g1, queen a6, bishop takes e5, takes e5, queen e5, queen a2. It's probably a draw. I didn't see that the first time. Now we were playing like Schieberspieler. The longest fork you've ever seen. Yeah, it's a different style. I'm showing off my calculation skills. We're not all like technical grinders. Everyone has to be. I think that Schieberspieler would have played this. I probably would consider it. But the advantage is so small for white here that most players wouldn't have a serious chance of winning this position. Maybe white is like plus 0.1. Maybe it's even more actually. But objectively, it's still probably a draw. We have to be accepting of each other's varying styles of play. h3, rook d8, and now it's just a draw. It should be a draw. This should definitely be a draw, unless it's number 4. Speaking of Jonathan Spielman, again, the same book, he gives some game where he beats some lesser master in an endgame like this. I mean, objectively, in all honesty, this is just absolutely a draw. There's no way that either side... There's really no way that either side should win this position. Neither side has a significant enough advantage to win here. Of course, it's possible. I guess black, a little bit, has better space with the pawns on e5 and f5. Black should be able to hold. I thought black was better. Maybe e4 as a pawn sack. This is probably not possible. Camel culture, I agree. Black's a little better. Camel culture, good to see you. King f1, king f7, f3. It should be a draw. Actually here, I mean, I like e4. It's still a draw no matter what. Oof. Black misses bishop f1. Yeah, how did that happen? Jim played a little passively. Well, he shouldn't have put his king on d3. This was a very strange decision. I didn't say anything. But this is bullet chess. Maybe black should actually play e4 around here. What is that pawn on c2? No, I mean, I would play e4 before it's too late. White has to just kind of draw the line in the sand and say, I'm not going to lose now, before black has too much space. This is just kind of crazy. I mean, even e4 check is slight advantage for black now. But Jim really asked for it now. He's actually in trouble with bishop f1, and black misses that. f4 is a catastrophe. He misses bishop f1 and hangs his g6 pawn at the same time. And what happened? Yeah. And so he sees this. It's just a trade for this. So now it's a draw objectively. King d5. And even though black has pawns fixed on the dark squares, it's probably not enough to lose. I don't know what the stored evaluation is here. Stockfish is saying 2.1. But I don't think so. I don't understand 2.1. I'm not sure I see how white can win. Jim asked me, show how you can win this position. I had an idea. I don't understand that stored evaluation with 2.1. So here it was obvious. It looked like g3. But I don't have the capability to analyze this king and pawn in game that far. I still think it's a draw. I just don't think it's lost. Black's king is really good. You're suggesting bishop f8 in which position? Oh, like here? So a5 would be forced, weakening black's structure, putting more pawns on dark squares. And then you have bishop e7. Now maybe you're on to something. But how can we attack two pawns simultaneously, or even put black in zugzwang here? Bishop g5? I just don't know how white can make progress. I guess here we're getting close to zugzwang. But I mean, do we have a waiting move? It's certainly not an easy win. I agree though. But I saw the position later. I thought Jim was talking about later, after bishop e3. I was analyzing this position, thinking that white should try g3. But this I'm not sure about. Clearly there's bishop c1. And can white win this position? Pawn takes pawn is probably not enough. The king and pawn endgame. Bishop takes, pawn takes, a5. How do we make progress? King e3. This is an interesting variation. What do you guys think? Of course it's easy to blunder. Bishop takes, pawn takes. Well, you've got this move, h4. You can't allow the white to come in here, so white has an extra move actually. We're getting in king e4. So maybe black has to play h4. Then what? It's Zugzwang, isn't it? Why is this not just winning for white? Probably is, right? It is. So does black have some way of surviving this position? What am I missing? King e6? King e6? King e4? Is it like king e6 starting to come over here? Is it possible that black can defend like that? It looks crazy. Holy crap. Like, this might hold on. White has more space and is up a pawn. But this is a serious threat. Might actually hold a draw. It's not so clear. So it looks like this is not so clear, but the earlier suggestion now of bishop, the Schieberspieler, bishop f8, this does look pretty tough. Putting that extra pawn on a5 is probably close to winning for white. Now there's like three. Well, this target is harder to defend. I mean, a5 is harder to defend. This really legitimately looks tough. We looked at this, this, and how do we make progress? Not sure. Bishop e7, a3. I don't really think that, well, it does make a point, maybe some extra squares, but I'm not sure. The evaluation is like 2.1, which is usually a win, but it's just stored. I don't think that's, I don't know. I don't understand how we're making progress. I really just don't see it. Bishop e6, bishop e7. This is just engine moves. Seriously, I don't know. I don't see how to win. Does anybody see how to win? You might even play a4, yeah. But black should probably trade pawns if a4. But just hypothetically, you know, if we did something like that, if we did something like a4, I would just trade pawns. There's even like an advantage for black. He might be able to creep over here and go into b4. I'm not sure if we ever really want to do that. This is a draw. Better half of a draw. So Jim, I don't know if it's winning or not. The engine gives plus 2.5 after bishop f6. I'm just not convinced it's necessarily winning. Did you miss a clear win? Maybe now? No. Bishop e3, bishop e7. Oh, this. Wait. No, this is winning. Now you're winning with bishop e7. Even here you might not be winning with bishop a3. That's crazy. I saw the evaluation topped out at 2.7. Their bishop c1. That's ridiculous. g3 is unclear. You think it's a clear win? Bishop e7, bishop a3. How do we win? Oh, now you think we have unlimited waiting moves? Oh, just king c2 or something. I mean, even there, it's possible black could come in. Bishop f8. So eventually you have to put another pawn on the dark squares, or we penetrate. If black loses a pawn, I think he should be lost. It's almost certainly lost. I just can't believe that you can hold this. This has got to be a win for white now. Yeah, I agree. If that pawn was on f5 instead of f4, it could be very hard. But black is down a pawn with the pawn fixed on f4, a serious liability. His only justification is the good king on d5. But objectively, I still don't think it's enough. White has the outside pass pawn. You should be able to use that as a distractor. Well, the bullet game doesn't matter at this point. We're just analyzing an endgame, Acerbate. The aspect of the bullet game doesn't matter. Jib wanted to know if it was a win or not, you know. If he plays a5, we go behind and we're threatening bishop d8. That's not going to save him. Yeah, so this is the best. You could have gotten this pawn. Eventually win a pawn. Probably winning for white. Alright guys, this is a long analysis. Judging by the first two games, I spent over an hour. We're never going to get to all these games. Sync them up. We got too many games. I don't think we're going to get that far. If you guys want to submit a game for game analysis stream, the best bet is to submit it as early as you can. Like while I'm streaming or, you know, the day before. There's no guarantee I can get to these games. Alright, Antony. Antony is up next. Antony. Where's game analysis? Interesting Catalan? Alright. Interesting Catalan line for the Thursday analysis stream. I'd like to have your opinion on the variation. With the focus on which kind of compensation white gets for the two pawns. Thanks for joining us, guys. It's good to see Camel Culture and Coach Jim, Chess Lover. A lot of people who aren't always here. Real chess players love the analysis stream. What did I just do? Alright, here it is. Quang Liam Tao Master. He always used to bring this little towel with him. It was like an arm rest. Put it on the board, spread it out in front of him before we started. I played him several times. He swindled a draw for me in the last position. And then he beat me at least one other game. Quang Liam, Vietnamese wonderkind. Wunderkind. And Alberto David, the biggest hair in chess. Formerly the biggest hair in chess against Tao Master. Alright. So, this was played in 2011. And Tony may not be here. HTFP, thanks for the donation. So, what are we doing? Playing the Catalan with white. They open Catalan. C6. So this is right up Schieberspieler's alley. Take pawns, grab them, and try to keep them. So I don't know. I don't know the Catalan. I just play it. I don't know where anything is. I just work here. The Catalan is just very easy to play. I don't think there's any need for theory. It's actually one of the easiest openings to play without knowing the theory. I think it's very strategic. You can use common sense and not really make big mistakes. However, I mean, if black's going to do something sharp and try to hang on to this pawn, it could get kind of tactical. I would imagine castles is fine. Some people like to play a4. mean, c6 is pretty passive. And he's preventing b5. Is there some line where you can play like b5, knight takes c6, queen b6 or something crazy like that? Yeah. Yeah, b5 is a move here. So that's the craziest of crazies, right? b5 anyway. I knew I had seen this before. I have no idea, man, what this is. Anyway, we're not here to analyze the Catalan. He wanted me to evaluate, the compensation for 2 pawns. So knight e5, bishop e4 check. I would think like knight c3 is a serious alternative. Oh, 2-pawn grab. Wow. So this is Topalov Kramnik. Wow. All right. So it's a dynamic pawn grab. It reminds me of the, what's that called? The Marshall variation, Marshall Gambit, right? In the semi-tarash, in the pawn triangle. This line. What am I thinking of? Oh, no. I'm thinking of the pawn triangle right here. It's the Marshall Gambit, right? e4 takes, knight takes e4, bishop check, bishop d2, queen takes d4. There's definitely like a similarity here. White is grabbing the bishop, getting the dark squared bishop. Black's grabbing a couple pawns, but giving up the initiative. There's something very similar about this. I really don't like knight e5. I mean, you're moving the same piece twice. It feels wrong. Another interesting gambit in the Catalan is castles, or bishop e7, castles, queen c2, b6, and this variation with knight e5 and queen takes d4. Another really dynamic line. This was only discovered not that long ago. This is another, I think, really playable sacrifice. All the top players are like declining the exchange, playing like bishop g5 or whatever. But anyways, all right. Black gives up the initiative to win a couple pawns. So there's this. I mean, that's pretty serious. That's worth a pawn, probably. But it's hard to play this type of position without home analysis. Bukovshin. That's the Bukovshin variation? Are you serious? Schieberspieler. He's credited with that? I didn't know that. That b6 thing? Was he the parkour guy? The parkour grandmaster? No, that's a different guy. It's like black is playing parkour here. Knight a3. So this actually goes back to 2003. Quang Liam and Alberto are just repeating that. Everything's protected. That's a lot of pawns. So it's 3 pawns, actually. Don't try this without home analysis for either side. And if you are going to try it for white, because black's really in more danger with his king in the center. Taking on f7 with your knight in that other line, the Bukowskian variation. Well, I mean, you see the compensation. Black can't get the king out of the center. Yeah, Dubov is an inspiring player. He has a lot of creative ideas, you know. You were lazy when you checked this line? Your line is 14 e5 in counterplay. Because you were studying your fellow Hungarian, Banus versus Alberto David, which was played a year later. Banus Tamás. h6. Rook fe1. But that's funny. So Banus chose to play e5 after knowing about this game, probably. This game was 2011. Banus played the same guy and then played e5 consequently. e5 was a much better score. So this is the only game with rook e1. There may be some other secret games. Right. Let's see what the computer says. AE1, theoretical novelty. See, people are so materialistic. What's another pawn on A2? It doesn't matter anymore. White sacked everything. The engine's actually considering AE1. So that would be a TN for Schieberspieler at his next tournament. Sacrificing. No, he'd probably be playing black. Actually, I don't know. Maybe Schieberspieler, maybe you play both sides of this. H6, rook fe1, 97, e5. Pretty logical play, man. These guys are too theoretical for me. This is like pure engine chess. That's unbelievable. I mean, what is the chance, even if you memorize this line, you'll actually get to play it over the board? Oh, you had it against Yevgeny? The same line? You have to appreciate DK Guy's dry sense of humor. 5a6. You played it against me, didn't you? You played some similar thing against me too. But I don't know the theory well enough. I mean, what's the chance of memorizing all this and actually getting it in a game? It's worse than the Najdorf. Now we got serious threats of bishop takes d7. So this is what happens. Check, check. It almost feels like it's like a memorized draw. Both players were happy. That's what it feels like. But I mean, technically, Quang Liem is higher rated and he's white, though. He's just happy he didn't lose. Yeah, that's a crazy game, man. It's too much theory for me. I mean, clearly white has compensation. Black is taking a lot of risks here with queen takes d4. It's worse than Sveshnikov. It reminds me of the Panov. I mean, the Botvinnik variation. Some kind of Botvinnik variation. Alright, anyway, and Tony, that's a little bit beyond our capabilities. The average chess player doesn't have the capability to play that kind of position perfectly, like those guys. Yeah, I feel like both players probably memorized their variations, and then like when they realized like they both had memorized it, they just like agreed to a draw. They both knew it was like a forced draw at some point, and they were like, okay, whatever, it's a draw. We both know that the variation ends in a draw. That's what it felt like. You'll be back. I'll be back. Alright, have fun. Later. So, I'm not sure, I'm not going to get through all the games today. Igara submitted a game. recently. I want to submit a game. Alright. Thursday now, if I'm not booked up. Thanks again for the stream, quality content, a little background. I play the black side of Italian. I've been studying theory to prep against various Royal Pez. Seem to be countering more Italian games to Spanish. I'm not surprised. I've been playing this line against the Italian to avoid the Evans. I find it to be fairly solid. Helper information brought me. Alright, I don't think that anybody should be afraid of the Evans. Probably. To be honest. Life is too short to drink cheap beer, right? So, yes, the Italian is more popular than the Spanish now because of the Berlin defense and the Marshall. And so I'm not surprised. I mean, when it gets to the point where people are playing like Bishop b5, Knight f6, d3, I think that's when we realize, we start to wonder like why we're playing the Royal Pez. You know, we get to this point where the Berlin defense is played and we're playing d3, and Peter Swidler is doing video series on how to play d3 against the Berlin or whatever. Then people are second guessing themselves, like, why bother playing the Spanish? You know, we might as well just play Bishop c4. But I don't fear the Evans, you know. I don't think the Evans is a problem. It seems like Bishop c5, b4, Bishop e4, c3, Bishop a5. This line is in bad shape for white after d4. d4, d6, queen b3, queen d7. I don't know how white can get an advantage in this variation. Chess lover, I don't know about that, but it's possible. Anything's possible. This just looks really good for black. I don't see how white can get an advantage in this line. Possible that white can play without queen b3. But this also has very few games. No, I like this variation for black, yeah. That's what I'm saying, Move 11. This is the line that Gustafsson recommends. I don't think the Evans is a problem. You know? I would honestly be more concerned about, like, I would be more concerned about knight g5 in the 4 knights, or the 2 knights defense. I think that's actually harder to play against. I would be more scared to play this for black and have problems than, like, the Evans. But at least here black can kind of sacrifice material for the initiative. If you like the initiative, this is fine. But not everybody trusts the lines completely, you know, where you're like going down a pawn in this line. So anyway, I just don't think the Evans is something to be afraid of, realistically. But anyways, okay, Bishop c4, Knight f6, castle. This is a mistake I made against Ahms once. So this is just a mistake. You can't play this move order with white. He has to play d3 here. It's really bad. I did this by accident in some simul game. Or maybe it was even a blitz game. I wasn't thinking and I played castles. And now literally, like, white, I don't know if white can even equalize in this. So that's a problem. Okay, h6. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I'm not sure what we've got now. Maybe we'll transpose. I don't really think that h6 is necessary. Now you're basically playing a Hungarian defense. Bishop e7. Well, I think the knight g5 variation is very, very complicated. And maybe black is okay, but it takes a lot of... You gotta really study a lot. There's a lot of traps, and it's very, very tricky and complicated. Maybe you're right, Turkey Shatrans, but it takes a lot of work to study that. I would think the Evans would be easier to deal with. So both sides play kind of strangely here. Knight a5. I guess you'll play c5. I'm not crazy about it. White's rook is maybe misplaced on e1. He should be playing for f4. Objectively. With the knight on c3. I guess he can play d4 maybe. This is weird, but I guess if you play c5, your position's not that bad. But again, you're going to have to get the knight back. White's rook, if it were on f1, I would really like his position. He'd be supporting f4. Clear advantage. f7. It's like a closed Sicilian now. He's going to have to waste the tempo to get his rook back, but you're going to have to waste tempo to get your knight back to the center. So I think that white is clearly better, or at least significantly better. And now knight h2. It's not ideal. I mean, knight h2 is not ideal. But it's the right idea, you know. I'm sorry, I gotta go back. Sorry guys, I misclicked. So, okay. Knight h2, clear plan of f4. That's the problem with black's position. Maybe you can play bishop e6 here. It's not that bad. White should probably just play f4, let you take on a2. I don't know. Can also exchange. Play f4. White is slightly better, it feels like. But again, his rook is misplaced. So maybe he can't do this. There may be some tactics. Sensible move. And for me, this is a little slow. I didn't think he was going to go for this. Okay. Yeah, this is cool. I wonder if black could get time to get in like bishop g5 somehow. I'd want to play that move. But I think the other question is can white and should white play f4? Because positionally that's the correct plan for white here. There may or may not be some tactical problems. I don't really see it, you know. I thought that's your main plan. This is also an idea, of course. Let's see what the computer says. It likes knight f1. Is there some problem with f4? It's obviously a looser move. ef4, bishop f4, bishop e6. Black is okay, apparently. I still don't think that white could possibly be worse. Unless there's some problem with b2. So this deserves consideration as an alternative to the game. Knight f1 is very solid for your opponent. I'm not sure what we're doing with knight d4. Eventually we're going to get kicked out by c3. He's got a good lock on d5. And now you've got bishop g5 just in time. This is hanging. That's a problem. And maybe a5 for white. Consideration. I mean here, honestly, like c3. Knight e6. White is slightly better here, but I'm not sure what the best move is. I didn't get to your game yet. Bob, No need to rub the salt into the wound. Knight e6, take, queen g4 with a double attack. Yeah, man. But I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand this. I don't understand knight e6 here. What is the double header? DK guy. What do you mean by double header? You guys are mean. So why knight e6? Unprovoked. Why not just take? Take and bishop g5. White is slightly better. Bishop stronger than knight. But I don't think this is too bad. And then probably he should... Oh, Bob submitted the same game. That'll save me some time at least. You're not going to really get rid of it though, because he's going to avoid the exchange. And I think that white is slightly better. But objectively, you could still try this, I guess. That's an interesting choice. Now you have c3. I'm not sure about bishop f6. And I'm not sure where to put the knight, but I assume this to go for e5. Schieberspieler would agree with me that white is slightly better. The bishop is stronger than the knight, but it's not that easy, you know. Alright, so you take here with the bishop, he takes, you take, he takes, you played this, he plays this, and then you played this, and as Chess Lover says, it looks like there may be tactical problems with h6 and e6. So we're starting to have legitimate problem here, maybe. So this is pretty forcing variation. I mean, there could be counterplay with some sort of check on d4 in some positions, some queen f2. In any case, I don't like black structure. Blobix just subscribed. 14 months. Welcome, Blobix. We missed you. Yeah, rook f6 also holds, but I mean, white is better positionally, regardless of whether you win material here. White has to be slightly better here. King h7. Black has counterplay with queen d4 as well, and some threats. I don't really get it. Like king h7, queen e6. Apparently black has enough activity to hold. But I don't think that black should allow that. You know, it's pretty clear like you should just take here. But definitely not knight e6. I mean, there's a lot of other moves too. Play king h8 or something. How bad is king h8? Is king h8 a bad move? No, we're hoping, of course, for something like this. And we can always meet like c3 with knight c6. White is better, but is he winning? I'm not sure. So I don't like the knight e6 retreat. And here's an interesting try. Is our knight trapped? Maybe this is a bad place to put the knight long term. It's possible, you know, that knight will get trapped on f4. But this feels very passive. And that bishop should probably go to a2. And now a5 does look weird. I mean, I want to play for c4. You want to play for c4 and some tactics with the pawns on white squares. A5 makes your white squares. It makes your white squares look weaker than they already are. So A5 is a bad move. Yeah, you're getting in very tough situation now. Bishop G5 is a good move. Do we need to do this? I mean, can we trade? Play like Queen G5, try to reach an endgame. It's not a lot of fun, but black might hold. A5. Warnaki's favorite move. Looks like you waited too long. Pull the trigger here. So what's happening? Bishop G5, Queen G5, Queen G5, HG5, Rook G3, F6, and then something like H4. Is it bedtime for Bonzo here? This looks really nasty. I'm not enjoying this. Schieberspieler believes me about the bishop being superior to the knight in said position. Phew. I think you should have gone for that earlier. You know, when you played Bishop G5, well, actually you should have played it earlier. As much as it will hurt Warnaki's feelings, we need to play this, like, immediately. And we're barely in time as it is. I think if White's rook was on F1, we would already be dead. Or close to it. You know, but luckily that rook is on a bad square. But Bishop G5 needs to be played. You waited too long to play it, and now White has some tactics. And I'm not sure what White's threatening here. That's the problem, he has no threat. Now he literally has no threats. Okay, the only threat is G4, G5. So H4, move the rook, and then G4, G5. Maybe it's not too late for White to have something. How's Black going to deal with that? Now you played B5, A B5, Knight B5, threatening Knight D4. Whoops. Maybe we shouldn't bother with that. Let's just play H4. Man, Mr. Coffee's never here to keep you under control. And I'm concentrating on the analysis. Taking advantage, man, of the situation. I mean, B5 is a good move. But do we have time for anything here? Because now this is a problem. The knight's really annoying, and there's the B pawn. So there's no time for H4, move the rook, G4, G5. We need to play H4, keep the queen off of there, and then push the G pawn. But now Black's counterplay is too fast. Mr. Coffee, what's up? Gotta keep Bob under control. Bob's making sexual innuendos again. Every time I turn around. King H7. No, but I mean, why King H7? Can't we just do this? Why aren't you like winning B2? That was lucky for White. Probably you should try like Rook C2. You've got A4, A3 threats. I mean, obviously you can just take on d5 now. Black's fine. So white just crumbled. He just like totally crumbled from a great position into hopeless land. It's not even clear why he doesn't take the pawn on a5. There might still be hope. Black's structure is better now. Double pawn on d5. These look weak. You're on the 7th. Ooh, we're playing for the endgame. Nice. Rook behind pass pawn. I like this move though. That's a spirited idea. Ooh. Oh no. Maybe it's time for rook g8. Sorry. So if you play a4, rook takes, queen takes, rook takes, king takes, your king is going to get checked a lot. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you have to do this. c4 looks like a mouse slip. He's literally like letting you play a5, a4. Now it's over. You're even winning over here. Anyway, your structure is just too good. Nice game. Yeah, but you survived from a bad position. Warnacki, you're up next. It is time for Warnacki. Warnacki, who did submit his game. Guys, thanks everybody for supporting the stream. Very clear. Blobix is a supporter of the stream. Back again. After a summer. Doing chess camps. Back to normal lockdown life for Blobix. What am I looking for? Did I go past it? Warnacki, I know your game's here. There it is. So, alright. Great I am. Weak FM. Here's a game that I thought was decently played by me in what I call my typical setup. Oh no. Asterbate with 100 bits. Guys, thanks to Padron and Tony for a gift sub this week. Also, Asterbate with 700. Baron Zen 204. Warnacki with 200. Thank you guys for supporting the stream. It's hard to get to all these games, so that's why I'm not focusing on the chat too much. I know like DK guy was complaining I didn't catch his analysis, but I've got like tons of games to get to, so I'm kind of hurrying a little bit to try to get to everybody's games. Another unbeatable player. That's what he said about you, DK guy. That's weird. That's exactly what Blobix said about you. Move 11 gifting a tier 1 sub to Slaggie's community. He's gifted 63 in the channel. He gifted a tier 1 sub to Pop G. Move 11, was that accidental? Or you chose to gift a sub to Pop G? You subbed my most difficult opponent. It was random. Pop G's here. I thought Pop G was streaming. He's actually streaming now. We didn't have a raid, did we? Alright. He raided me the other day. The subs go to the unsubscribed viewer most time on stream. You think so? I thought it was like random. Wow. That's cool. No, he didn't raid, but it's funny if he's in our channel. He must have like multiple windows open or something. Because I think he's streaming as well. Anyway, thanks to Pop G and to Move 11 for the gift subs. Guys, you should check out Pop G's stream too. Just not when I'm streaming. Alright. So, we got Warnacki in his favorite setup, playing white. Yeah, he's been streaming more and more. Hungarian-based chess streamers will be dominating the world soon. Knight f3, d5, and we've got this. Ooh, DK guy's favorite opening. The reverse Grunfeld. I like this. We've had several games with DK. I was actually black against him. So with black I had like CD, knight takes d4, e5. We tried, and DK guy tried knight f3, and he played knight b3 against me. But to be frank, I like this position for both sides. Yeah, point. No, it has to be like, it can't be negative. It can't be negative. But I like c4 too for white. Oftentimes he's transposed to Catalans. So castles, alright. cd4. Oh, there's a funny move. What was it? Oh no, I know. I was thinking of a different position. I was thinking of a different position like this. We'd have to change the move order totally. Like here, 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 here. In this type of position, white should castle. You don't have to take the pawn right away. You just castle first, and then take it later when you feel like it. It's a slightly different line. Anyway, I feel, I'm sorry, but I feel that like black should exchange this pawn. I could be wrong. Schieberspieler is blocked for being too good. He's too strong. He doesn't take enough. He doesn't make enough mistakes. He's even more perfect than DK guy. He doesn't lose to me enough. C takes d4. Alright. Oh no. Honestly, you know, you're playing the Grunfeld with reverse colors, and if you go to, I played e3 Grunfeld a lot, so I know this, but there's a very important concept in the e3 Grunfeld with d5, knight f3, bishop g7, e3, castles, queen b3. Okay, particularly against queen b3, like e6 is the best move. This was invented by, I guess, like Alyoshin, and later played by Botvinnik. The idea is that you play e6, and then you try to play b6 and c5. That's the best setup. So I'm wondering, you know, I just don't like c3. It's very passive. You're playing like the Schlechter Slav with colors reversed. The best move is c4. But I'm wondering if e3 is a move. How bad is e3? Schieberspieler would probably like this. He likes to play g3 and then e3 against the Polish. But we can do the same plan, like e3 followed by b3, bishop b7, and we're playing for like c4 essentially. I think I prefer e3 to c3. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, well, c4 is the best move. Everybody knows that. There's no doubt about c4 being the best move here. Just, there's no other move. b3 is a move as well. But I like c3 the least. It's inherently passive. Now white is like fighting for equality. c4 is the best move on move 1. Now on the plus side, the Schlechter Slav is like so solid it's almost unbeatable. Kind of like DK guy. Send in a London victory. I hate the London. Rook E1. I mean, what are we going to do? Takes? You could play some kind of takes and b4, one of those active moves. Bishop g5 is like a reverse of what black normally does. It's just very solid. We're going to give up our bishop. Krunoslav Hulak, Yugoslav champion in 1976. Croatian champion 2006. The Hulak variation. But seriously, those facts, they're random facts. Can you believe I know that? No, seriously. He's still alive. 64 years old. Alright. Bishop d6, castles. Knight a3. This is a weird setup. Random facts I know. Random facts I know about random grandmasters. Been memorizing too much Wikipedia. Xerox doesn't play the London system. He plays e4. CD4. Oh yeah, he has a Yugo mustache. Did you like check that out on Wikipedia? Blavix, or you just knew that? He's closer to Blavix's generation. Grandmaster Hulak. He has a great mustache. Classic. Knight takes d4. What about this? Schieberspieler's taking that knight on a3 probably. He still has the same mustache probably now. How is what? Weird? You had to do without c4. Well, I don't like the fact that your structure might get broken up. Again, maybe bishop g5. That's... It's actually still not too late to do like b3, bishop e2. And it's also possible to do d takes c5 and try to play like b4, though I don't really like it here with f2 weekend. I don't like rook e1 either. You've got to choose one of these other setups. Either bishop g5, takes on c5 with b4, or something slow like e3, b3, bishop b2. Yeah, bishop g5 is like groveling for a draw. It's hard to beat that though. So here I'm wondering if black should take on a3. It must be hard for Schieberspieler because he likes bishops, but he likes good pawn structure too. So I wonder how he feels. He must be very torn about this sort of thing. Yeah, bishop a6 is just brutal now. Oof. I don't like this for white. Bishop a6. And station it on like c4. It's just not worth it. The damage to the white's pawn structure is too much. Too much damage to pawn structure. Schieberspieler likes bishops even more than me. With age, I've really stopped. I've learned to stop overestimating the bishop pair a little bit. I used to think it was better than it is. That's like a youthful thing. Bishop takes, knight takes. Do we have to play knight takes c6? I'd really rather not trade pieces. But I suppose his knight could end up on like c4. So maybe you're doing the right thing here. This is bad though. But e5 is bad. He's letting you get away with maybe playing c4. If you get to play c4, you undouble your pawns. I think your position isn't that bad. I mean, basically you have 3 bad pawns here. You learn to appreciate knights more as you get older. They're slower moving. More like a turtle. You get slow and you learn to like knights better than bishops. No, but seriously, this is a huge mistake. Like c4 and white is kind of okay now. As long as I just have 2 bad pawns, not 3. That's a huge change in position. But now e4. At least you're attacking a center. It's not the worst move. So despite his bad structure, Black put his center out there on display, and now Warnacki was able to put enough pressure on the center that his pawn structure isn't a big problem. This is ridiculous. Like bishop on b7. The bishop is terrible there, and it's attacked by the rook along the b file. Of course, he should prefer to put it on a different square. Okay, queen d6 is a good move. Yeah, he's placing his pieces really awkwardly. What's that about? White is okay now. I mean, obviously you have at least winning his pawn on d5, and you're okay. And I've looked at rook b7, but after bishop takes d5, rook b7, bishop d5, he pins you. Maybe it works though. You just take rook b7. No, it doesn't work. The center is vulnerable. I think it's a draw, objectively. Your pawn structure is too messed up to win. Now that the pawn structure is preventing you from winning, but at least it's still a draw. Okay, now you can play c4 and have a strong passed pawn. Oh, he's hanging a piece. Whoops. I didn't even see you take with the rook on b7. That's not good. That's like an acerbate game. Lucky. He's always lucky. It's over. But I mean, here you should play bishop d5 check. Not get your bishop blocked in. Still, it doesn't matter. No, you were lucky. It was a draw, objectively. Acerbate's the luckiest player I know here on the stream. I don't mean it as an insult, but he really is. Maybe he just shows me his lucky games. I don't know. I guess that's what it is. He only shares the lucky ones. I mean, maybe f3 here. Better than f4. You gotta be lucky to be good. The technique here is a little sketchy. You should probably start pushing the A pawn. There you go. Keep him busy. And that makes things a little easier. See, he's lucky again. Gotta be lucky to win. And that's it. No, I don't like that opening the way you played it. Particularly knight a3. Because of that exactly what he did, doubling the pawns there. The structure is very bad, Warnacki. But it was only because he played e5 that you had counterplay against the center. It's instructive. That move, which looks like a normal aggressive move, if you go back to move 11, move 11. I saw another game like this today, oddly. Black was a pawn up in another game one of my students had, and they did the same exact thing. They started like pushing their center. Black might as well be a pawn up here. It's the same basic thing. Black already has the game like strategically in the bag. If he plays bishop a6 and locks this structure down, Black doesn't need to do anything. He doesn't need to do anything. He has an open file. get the bishop out to a6, take over the b file, attack the weak pawns. e5 creates another front in the middle of the board. That's like a terrible mistake. Now it's like a standard Grunfeld center, and you have counterplay with c4. You didn't even play it right. You should have played c4 instead of e4, I think. Objectively. I mean, maybe e4 isn't that bad. But another point, Mr. Coffee, thanks for the 300 donation. When you played like this, maybe he should take there and go in opposite color bishop position. Bishop b7, obviously a bad move, but check this out. Knight takes e4, bishop takes e4, pawn takes e4 now. What are you going to do? The white squares all over the place are really, really weak. And black has a white squared bishop. So good luck with this position. And if he has time to play f5, you're like done. You can't even play bishop a3. I don't know what you're going to do here. It looks like it's lost. Well, what's the evaluation? Queen d8, rook d8. I didn't even think you could take this pawn. I thought you're getting mated or something. Wow. You can actually take that pawn. This doesn't look like a safe position. Wow. Opposite color bishops. Alright, Princess Chess was next. Guys, we're not going to get to all the games tonight. I'm doing my best. I try to be fair and put my effort into all the games, though. Wow, this is a game for 2018, and you played a 2249. Oh, snap! Page not found. Maybe that was an old one or something. That was yesterday. Snap, page not found. Alright, well, anyway. Next. I guess they changed their mind. I didn't see if Princess was here today. Game submission regret. Acerbate we didn't get to see today, guys. I was just talking about how lucky he is. The luckiest chess player on our stream. Where are you? So, Acerbate sent me a chess quote today. Chess is beautiful enough to waste your life for. Well, Princess, what's up? Did you, by the way, the Hans Reh quote, I didn't know you were here, Princess. Chess is beautiful enough to waste your life for. I thought that was kind of a weird quote. It's kind of like a backhanded way of Hans Reh saying that he was wasting his life. Are you saying that you're wasting your life? Princess Chess, send me the good link. I didn't know if you were here to correct it. It's just such a backhanded statement by Hans Reh. Hans Reh. Just be more, yeah, Hans, next time, why don't you be more straightforward about what you're trying to say? Chess is a complete waste of my life. But it's still beautiful. Fortune favors the brave. You like it more? Just be honest. Life is a waste of chess. I don't know if that works. Is Princess Chess going to send me a good link? We can do it after the Acerbate game. Let's start with Acerbate while she's looking. Yeah, so it's Polish opening. You had 15 cent upon loss. Wow. That doesn't sound lucky. Acerbate with 15 cent upon loss with black against the Polish opening. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen Acerbate face the Polish. I must have played it against him on a Wednesday. Guys, tomorrow we're going to be back with Blitz. Fast Blitz challenges for everybody, 5+3. Acerbate, thank you. Seam Express, another Hungarian chess fan. It doesn't look like a game entry got saved. Save it for next week. I think Acerbate normally would play like b6. It's certainly okay. Nothing wrong with that. But I found a lot of times in these type of structures, I end up where my knight gets like totally stuck when I play with b6 against the Polish. And d6 always creates a lot of weaknesses. In this sort of situation where you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. You know, where does my knight go? Padron Antoni, do Italians eat pulled pork? I thought that was like an American barbecue thing. Alright, b4. He's from like Italy, and he's talking about pulled pork. A lot of good barbecue joints in Italy. Alright, knight f6, e3, e6, hitting the pawn. Alright, I prefer b5, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. b5, what do you do? It's a matter of style, I don't know. a3 always seems like passive for white. Michael Bassman, who I never got to play. Scott's parents. Oh, Scots are really into barbecue. They're barbecue specialists. Are they actually? Maybe they are. They probably barbecue all kinds of crazy stuff. Barbecued entrails. Alright, it's getting personal. But I know like Padron Antoni likes to talk smack. Barbecued Scot entrails. e6. I'm an American, I have to defend the barbecue. Alright, so a3, c5. So this is pretty typical. We'll take and then hit that bishop later on with d4. So you're not really getting a free move here. The problem is d4 actually blocks his bishop, so a lot of players don't want to play d4. But I like the way you played this, Acerbate. It's totally fine. American fried chicken originated in Scotland. Ask Arthur Treacher. That's a good question, man. When did chickens first originate in America? And how were they prepared? Knight f4. a5. This is weird, Acerbate. Like, what's a5? Warnaki's happy, but I don't understand what you're doing. What the heck is a5? Why would you play a5? Seriously, I don't understand what a5 does. It has nothing to do with the position. There's really no purpose to a5. He's gonna like randomly play a5, a4, and then lift his rook to a5 and bring it across with rook a5, rook h5. He's undermining the invisible b pawn that you can't see, that's glitching on lichess right now. a5. I love this developing move. See how lucky he is? Boiled sheep eyes. Barbecued boiled sheep eyes. Knight h5. Very solid play by Acerbate with bishop e7. You know, everything makes sense except for a5. Scottish burial mound for the bishop on c8 perhaps should be discussed. Masturbate. I think you might want to think about getting it out with like bishop b7 or imagine if we had played b6 instead of a5 right now. We could be playing bishop b7 and we'd have a great game. I don't like e5. Look at this. He's got a nice white square attack now. Got to admit, I like White's spicy style with bishop d3, cheap tactics. But I'm starting to have my doubts. Masturbate with the premium center. Threatening to shut him down. And if knight f6, bishop f6, looks like black is fine. Wow. So White's just out of luck. White has nothing now. The Masturbate rook lift with rook a2 is the best move. Defending said bishop on b2. Masturbate might have queen b6 too. Not a very centralizing move. Oh no. That's thinking ahead. Using your noggin. Other than a5, Masturbate played perfectly. Oops. Oops. And look at this surgical move, knight e7. Eliminating the only dangerous piece in the vicinity. Nice. Masturbate is learning. And this is a great move too. Fianchetto bishop. That was a little weird. He's drifting now. Full drift. Please take my bishop. This is hanging. You can defend and attack at the same time. There you go. And the last potential danger, but the king is hiding on the dark square on h8. So there's no real problem here. Well, check it out. Knight takes e3 with attack against f2. That's a nice shot. Masturbate's first tactic of the game. He's actually quite good tactically. Check, king h8. Totally safe on the dark squares. And now back rank mate. Bang. Oh! He saw the back rank mate. After takes, check, queen f1. But he overlooked this one. That's funny. The frying pan into the fire with queen takes g2 mate. Guven Kurt, another Hungarian based chess fan. Everybody's here. Practically. For my Budapest friends. Alright, what's up? Well, my Hungary-based chess friends. Masturbate, good game, man. Except for a5. We have no clue what you were doing. Maybe it was a mouse slip. He was reaching for the b6 pawn. He accidentally touched the a pawn. What do you use, a computer or a tablet, Masturbate, to play? The phone? Okay, move 11 is up next. Warnaki hacked his account. That was the only move I didn't understand the whole game. DK guy. Oh no. It's time for Schieberspieler to leave. It looks like DK guy got the next one. Alright, we'll see you later. Thanks for joining us. We have respect for you. You wanted to resign but decided to play knight f3 h5 and knight f3 h5 and play fast. I tried to do that against like Pop G and it didn't work out well. I'll never do that again against a good player. Wow, so Schieberspieler actually played a good game here. It looks like very low center pawn loss. I don't know why he's leaving. It must have been a one-move blunder. Future WCC, appreciate the challenge. Any other time, but today, I don't know if he's out there. Oh, Chessinators is here. Yeah, no, we're just doing game analysis today. If you want to challenge me anytime, man. Other than now, I would play. I'm sorry, I can't. I got to get to some games that analyze for the subscribers. Justin Eater's also a streamer here, right? Definitely. Not in shape to play tonight though. Kind of in analysis mode. Appreciate it. Definitely will accept your challenge. Normally. So, H5, the lobster. You guys can check out Justin Eater's stream as well. Knight f3, h5, d4. We'll see what Schieberspieler... Oh, you're playing like Pop Gellert, my good friend. Schieberspieler left. Pop Gellert is my friend. And Kadash Gabor playing black. They're only Hungarians play h5, and you're playing it against them. Unbelievable. Dude, the Kadash opening is h4 with white. So Kadash was playing it with black in 1986. And Pop Gellert is the same guy who played f4, e5, g4, queen h4 mate. Gellert is a good friend of mine, but he has some periods where he goes a little haywire mentally. This was obviously one of them. Against Kenny Solomon, he decided to play h5. Kenny Solomon is a solid player from South Africa. I played him once or twice, but this is ridiculous to play it in a long game. I think knight h6 is a much better move, honestly. But we all love playing h5 in blitz, like DK Guy. It is a disrespectful move. But I will play it in response to a4, like I did in the stream. So we're following Pop Gellert theory. I used to do this all the time in blitz. But actually, Schieberspieler is smart. You know, I think the pawn stop. This is called the pawn stop. It's a good idea. Now he's got the fixed threat of bishop g5. So normally, if I'm black and I was playing this type of garbage in blitz, I would always play e6 here, DK Guy. This is a system. Preventing bishop g5, well, you can play bishop e7, that's the point. So DK Guy, your h5, h4 opening, it's not even accurate, you know. You're supposed to play e6 and bishop e7 in this position. Unbelievable. Alright, let's see what DK Guy has in mind. So here Pop Gellert played h5, obviously having a mental breakdown. He mated himself. I was telling the story how he mated himself against Oli Varga in 2 moves, and the organizer and the arbiter were like besides themselves because they didn't know what to do. What do you do when you have a private tournament and one of the players like mates themselves in 2 moves? Like you submit the game to the database, and it looks like the game was like thrown on purpose, and it was. But what are you supposed to do? You know, if one of the players is insane and wants to lose on purpose and has a mental breakdown, it's still a game, right? I mean, what are you going to do? Make it not have happened? It was very awkward. All right, anyway, so d5. I'm not so sure like what we're supposed to do after bishop g5. I'm not sure I understand. Like Hu Yifan, but Hu Yifan is a protest resignation. That's different. Did she play some stupid moves to lose, or did she just like resign? I thought you were talking about the protest game. This wasn't even a protest. He was just like having a mental breakdown, so lost on 2 moves randomly. Kind of like what he did in this game. That's a protest. Oh, she played a fool's mate or something? She really did that? Yeah, I wouldn't do that, you know. I mean, I don't understand why she did that. That's sort of childish. I would just, you know, resign. Like, say, I resign, and that's it, you know. I don't really like the fool's mate, losing in 2 moves on purpose, childish kind of thing. If you want to protest and resign, then just resign. You don't even need to make a move to resign. You just say, I resign. As far as I know. Maybe you have to make one move. But I mean, you can be forfeited without making a move, and the game would still be rated, right? So you should be able to resign. Alright, so d5, c4. So you're saying bishop g5. What are you going to play? c6? I'm going to protest next time I get 5 little kids in a row. What is your plan here, DK guy? Can you play like c5? This is time for, it's time for Warnaki's like c3 probably. Now we're in business, Warnaki. We're probably ready to play c3 in this position. I don't know. It's interesting. Anyways, Schieberspieler is not going to play that game. He's not going to be sucked into going for that stupid pawn. Saving it for later. Maybe Schieberspieler is right. He goes straight up into like an exchange Queen's Gambit. Exchange Slav. And now bishop g5. Bang. With compensation. The engine actually wanted to play bishop f4. And h3 kind of helps. You know, it's a natural move. So even the not normally materialistic Schieberspieler gets tempted to go for that pawn. I probably would have been as well. It's funny though that maybe bishop f4 is better. And this looks like a kind of normal exchange Slav move. Take the pawn. Queen b6. Now what? Queen b3. Queen b3. d5 is hanging. But maybe black has another move here. What if you just play e6? You have to trade queens, DK guy. I mean, I know how much you like to play e6 and block your bishop in on c8 on a regular basis anyway. I mean, maybe it's not bad. Is it possible to play like that? Maybe you have a bad ending. After he trades on b6, isolate double pawn. You don't like it? Well, it's kind of a normal idea in the queen pawn games. You can't take here because your bishop's going to hang on h4. But that's normal to allow that kind of structure in the Slav exchange and similar openings. I'm curious. Engine it's debating. It's not clear. It's siding with DK guy. Alright, you're right. Queen takes b3 is better. Queen takes b3, a takes b3, e6. Now Schieberspieler moves his bishop again. Highly suspicious. But Schieberspieler sensed like he might not get another chance. If he doesn't play bishop g5 now, when is he going to play it? I suppose another way you could play would be like bishop g3 and just say screw it. But I mean, the structure is pretty bad. I still think that white is preferred. I would rather have the pawn. Black has the bishop pair and a more correct pawn structure, but I still think that white's pawn up is some kind of advantage. I guess bishop g5 is better. Oh! Out of character. Yeah, this is a weird move. It looks like white is behind in development and he's playing like knight b5. We've got to consolidate, not play risky moves. Even this is interesting. I was thinking play bishop d2. It's just passive, but you're still up a pawn. Spectacular Camel with a sub. What's up, guys? A lot of subs tonight. Thank you. for supporting the stream. Blobix, Spectacular Camel, Pop G, got gift subbed. At least one other that I'm forgetting. I don't know. This does seem passive, but what do you want white to play? The problem is bishop b4. If we play e3, then we get bishop b4. There's just not that many moves. After knight c6, bishop d2, then we're ready to play e3 and complete our development. We can meet knight b4 with rook c1. The computer thinks that black has full compensation. You probably do. This just seemed weird. I was even thinking that black might play king d7. It's not permanent. It's funny, like, there's lots of moves. You could also take. Probably you have several good moves. Why is white behind in development? He grabbed the pawn on h4. DK guy played h5, h4, and Schieberspieler went to go get it. Bob just gifted a tier 1 to John Bartholomew. Oh my god, Bob. The legend. Thank you, Bob. So, knight b5, f6, bishop t6. We're going to have a strong community here. Totally random. King f7, e3, and then knight d2. Cashing in. I was surprised. I didn't think he would do it. Okay, it's a blitz game and DK guy's down to a minute now. But I mean, the bishop's not really going anywhere, is it? Are you afraid he might play bishop c3 or something? Black's been steadily improving his position. I don't know what to suggest, though. It's okay. Technically, Schieberspieler is up a pawn here. He has a 5-on-4 majority on the king side in the ending, which should technically give him the advantage. I don't know, though, about DK guy's bishop pair, active pieces, and possible break in the center with like e5. It looks like enough compensation. This e5 breakthrough. Whoa. Whoa, he just blundered. So obviously, white is screwed now. You uncorked knight b4 on him. Reckless bishop d3 from a normally calculating Schieberspieler. Obviously, after bishop e2, white is completely, absolutely equal. It's a dynamic position, though. You actually made this look like it was almost reasonable. So bishop d3, he just missed a double threat. Is there a move now? Schieberspieler resigned, but maybe he could have trapped your knight in the corner or something. Or he didn't resign right away. Okay. But why? What is the other move besides bishop d3? There's no other move here, right? Inaccuracy. Knight c3 was best. What? It's stupid. Inaccuracy. What do you want to play? Knight c3 were just like a clear piece down for nothing. Stupid stockfish. At least in this variation, Schieberspieler could possibly trap DK guy knight in the corner. Right? It makes sense. Theoretically, you could try to trap the knight in the corner. Unfortunately, it probably doesn't work because of like rook c8 and bishop b4 or something. Or even this. Check and you get the knight out. Was that an inaccuracy? Probably you can play like rook c8 check and just simply play knight c2. Then you get pinned by rook c1. See, there's still ways that this could go wrong. Rook c8 check, knight c2, and then rook c1. With an extra pawn, I mean, there's a chance Schieberspieler could survive. I mean, probably he's going to lose after knight a3 check takes, and bishop takes a3. White is clearly down the exchange. But anyway, it's worth playing out. I wouldn't resign right away. Crushing one-move blunder. But it was an inspired game by DK Guy anyway. Alright. You asserted your dominance with a 14 center pawn loss, 2 inaccuracies. Devastating. Alright guys, move 11. Bob is eliminated because he has a double. So move 11 is up next. I've only got 20 minutes left in the stream. We're actually over time. I'm supposed to be quitting. It started at 6:30. We're going to go on. Extra long analysis stream. So move 11. Wait, I want to submit this game to the stream. Did you send it twice? Karpov Sarawan. Assertion of dominance and masculinity with a deep voice. That was a great game.
Yes. No!
Alright, seriously. Move 11. Speaking of dominance and masculinity, Anatoly Karpov playing white against Yasser Seirawan, two of the most incredibly masculine people I know, especially Karpov. D4. D4, D5, C4. Takes, E4. It's kind of an aggressive move. Karpov doesn't normally play gambit style stuff, but I know he plays this. Hello. I had to be careful. I'll start doing the Panda voice. Maybe Panda should just analyze this game. Extra masculine Panda. Hello. Hey. E5. E5. This is Yasser playing black against Anatolia. So now knight f3. Okay, bishop e4 check. So, speaking of masculine chess, I toyed with playing the exchange. I mean, the Queen's Gambit accepted a little bit. This is considered sharper for black to play pawn takes pawn. Jim would probably like this. You should play d4 and play this, Jim. It's like playing the whatever it is, the Scotch Gambit against d4, d5. It's very similar to the Scotch Gambit type of thing, except even better for white. You know, f7 is so juicy here. So Seirawan plays bishop e4 check instead, which I mean, I think trading pieces should be inherently like more safe. It looks like Seirawan probably wants to be safe, but I don't think playing the Queen's Gambit accepted is a great idea in general against someone like Karpov. The title hangover. He wasn't at his best that night. Okay, so knight c3 and bishop d2 are moves. Karpov plays safe. Bishop takes. Trading pieces is in black's interest, I guess. So now queen takes. It looks like knight takes is a line too. But I mean, this feels like kind of lame compared to the other variation with those pieces exchanged. Not quite as sharp as the other line. I mean, I think e5 is a reliable way to play against the c4. I play blitz games from time to time, but not recently. I remember Fritz 6, like kicking my ass when I tried to play this line with black once. The Manhattan Chess Club. I was like playing some computer. That's a weird memory. Alright, queen takes d4. Queen takes d4. So anyway, here, the main line turns out to be knight takes d4. I remember from studying the theory of this, there's not actually very many games, which is kind of strange, but even Ulf Andersson played it with white. But it's interesting to see that Navarra played this. I think knight takes is more aggressive. Karpov likes the solid approach, allowing a trade of queens. This game I studied somewhere long ago. I guess it was just featured in Queen's Gambit Accepted books, most likely, that I saw this move 11. So this was considered to be like a typical game for this variation. But it's not sure if Queen takes d4 is as good as Knight takes d4. But it proves an interesting point. I mean, the central pawn on e4. This is such a fundamental, just a massively fundamental advantage for white. You just wouldn't think, you know, it would be that big a deal. But black just can't defend the pawn on c4. So it's just gone. We're going to give that up. Yasser plays what? Okay, this is considered the best move. And now bishop takes c4. That's all it takes. One powerful pawn in the center and white dominates the game. Even in the endgame. Another interesting thing is the fallacy of Queen's Gambit or queenside majorities. When I was learning chess, it always seemed like people talk about the queenside majority, queenside majority, queenside majority. Well, black has a queenside majority in an endgame here, and it doesn't seem very potent, you know? Potency, Bob. This pawn on e4 is a lot more potent than the black queenside majority. Serwan looks like a drooling baby in this game, honestly. He really looks bad. So knight c6, knight takes c6, bishop takes c6, knight c3. There has to be a better way to play. Now black plays rook d8. It's looking like a rare move. I would think knight e7. Knight e7 because you might need to put the knight on g6 and look at those squares. If you put the knight on f6, it has nowhere to go. Maybe back over here, I guess, to the queen side. Rook d8, and now just king e2. See here, there's some guy who played f3. That's the difference between this guy and Karpov. Karpov plays king e2, and random guy plays f3. King e2 is a multi-purpose move connecting the rooks. We can always play f3, but we might even play f4. It's possible the kingside majority is stronger than the queenside majority. More relevant anyway. So here, and again, I'm not sure. I mean, maybe the knight should consider going to e7. It's not great, but it just feels kind of shut down on f6. It even gets in the way of the f-pawn's motion. So I would think, like, normally, knight's not out in front of the pawn structure. Knight e7. Wow. So check this out. Karpov was scary. It was 1989, and he was like playing for the World Championship the next year against Kasparov. He was still in his prime, so it's really intimidating to play Karpov, especially with black. But check this position out. Serwan has f5, possibly. Speaking of not blocking your pawns, or he has king e7, borrowing an idea from Karpov. But instead he plays knight f6, which blocks his f-pawn. You know, and you just have this pawn that's like a rock on e4 anyway. The knight has nowhere to go. It can't go there, it can't go there. This is like lame. f3 now, taking away g4 as well. Matulovic lost the same position 11 years earlier. You know, I wonder if it's possible that Karpov could have known that game. It's even possible he could know a game like that, Bagirov Matulovic. There's possibly other games. This database is not complete. So then Karpov, I would think like you'd want to keep the rooks on. Karpov just goes for an exchange of rooks. I would want to keep the pieces on here and play for a space all over the board. Maybe g4, h4, g5, play for an attack. I guess Karpov, I wouldn't mind trading one set of rooks. Maybe that's what he plans. I don't really want to trade both sets of rooks if I'm Karpov here. a5, okay, there's your queenside majority. Can I please get a queenside majority? And now rook a c1. I was a little surprised by that move. I didn't really understand what Karpov was doing here. I thought he would play king e3 and allow one exchange of rooks and then avoid the other. That would be what I would do. But Sarawan maybe has tactics with b5 and the b2 pawn. It's possible. It's possible. I'm sorry, not b3. I'm saying, like, on this, it's possible there's some sort of b5 tactics where you could play back against the b2 pawn. That's concerning if you're Karpov. So here, rook c1, I thought was a weird, hesitant move. Takes, takes, and now he can't play rook d8 because he loses his f7 pawn. So Sarawan achieved nothing except for like losing control of the open file. But now rook b8, threatening b5, king e3, and I'm obviously b5. I don't really understand why you wouldn't play b5 here. Can anybody explain to me why you wouldn't play b5 now? Because I just don't really get it. Computer is hesitating as well. What's the problem with b5? Wow, that's like beyond me, man. This is too deep for me to understand. Stockfish seems to understand it. It's just too deep for me. Some sort of deep, very, very deep plan. Bishop d3. Possibly this could be backward. This game is too complicated to analyze in 10 minutes here on my stream. Alright, so Yasser second guesses himself, perhaps justifiably. He plays like g6, taking away the f5 square. That's a nasty maneuver here into f5. Here. So it feels like Sarawan just keeps changing plans. White's just better. And now I'm sorry I got off the main line. The main line was b3. Or was it? This is the actual game. Make main line. Alright. Make main line. This is a great move. Rook d4. He's doing nothing well. Just grabbing space. I'm curious if Karpov could beat like Ding Niran in this position. Or Leko. Probably. It's just already pretty passive. The d5 square, it's awful for black. He still can't put him away. This was a strange passive move. I really thought that b3 would surely be played. Rook d2 seemed extremely hesitant. I mean, you don't really want a rook stuck guarding that pawn. But what was wrong with b3? Maybe there's something very, very deep there. Yasser plays a natural c6 move. But check this out. Now we understand. Why do you want your rook on this passive square? Then it happens h5. And you suddenly see this over here. Oops. The rook has kind of more mobility on d2. So he can't take, he has to play g5. And then Anatoly finds a way to get his knight into like f5, and it's just over. And this is just like cringe-worthy. And Black's queenside majority is nowhere to be seen. Here comes the queenside majority. It's a little late. And there's just nothing. So Yasser resigned. It's totally lost. But it wasn't like indefensible position. Just difficult. Alright guys. Let's see. Yevgeny and El Rosador. I've only got like 5 minutes left. So we're going to go over these games. I got to sync them up too. I don't know what happened to those guys. What happened to them? Alright, I don't know where the other games went. We'll look at this one last. I gotta go. Quick look at this game. I've got to go in 5 minutes. Sorry guys, send your games in earlier if you want to make sure I analyze it. Sync them up as white. D4, E6, B3, Bishop B2. Mr. Coffee. Mr. Coffee's favorite opening. Knight on BD2. Yeah, this exchange is usually considered inaccurate. Is it really a good idea? Or does it benefit Black in some way to make this exchange when it's not necessary? Yeah, I skipped over those other guys that couldn't find their games. But in general, guys, sorry if I didn't get to your game. This is Sync Them Up. Budget guy. So oftentimes, like, we play A3 to stop knight B4 in case of bishop D3. Our main issue is Black achieving E5. If Black achieves E5, he's going to equalize. So bishop D3. You see, here I have a problem. If queen C7, how am I stopping E5? You're going to have to do something weird. I recommend it to Mr. Coffee to study the games of Rubinstein. If you want to understand this kind of system, he was the first to truly understand it. He basically played 100 years ago systems like this perfectly. He was a genius. Castles, but no. The question is this: Queen C7. Alright, can I play E5? Nobody tried it. You got Queen E2. So we have Queen E2 just in time, or does it not work? Yes. It's a little complicated, but this is probably good for white. You'd have to play knight E4 now. Alright, so it works. The move order works. Black doesn't have time to play E5. So you had to play castles. Now bishop D3. Oh, you didn't play bishop D3. So you make a mistake. You second guess yourself. Sorry. A3 actually looks like a good move. Castles. And now normal move, bishop D3. And if queen c7, queen e2, what's the problem? Wow, rook e8. There's nobody real there. Olivier? That's not the same. Olivier. That's not the real one. So rook e8? Is this a problem? You can play knight e5. Tejas. Tejas lost to a 2200. What? Yeah, white's better. The result is not important. Grandmaster Tejas Bakre of India. Friend of mine. Alright. That looks fine. No? We're good. So why did you play bishop b5? Okay, it's another way of controlling. Another way of controlling e5. But it doesn't pose the same problems. In fact, like knight e7 is a move for black here. Take care, DK guy. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Blitz. Morning blitz tomorrow. No going to work. Bishop b5 is interesting. It doesn't feel like the right move. That gets a dubious. Well, anyway, he forced you back to where you belong. He gets in maybe b5. Now g3. Of course. Taking away the f4 square. Okay, so now we don't have to play knight e5. You could wait. You could build up your pressure. The threat is stronger than the execution. Budget guy. You have two good moves, right? I mean, rook e1 or queen e2, theoretically. So it's a tough decision. Yeah, I don't want him to play e5, but you have three ways to prevent it. So it's kind of a tough call. This is the most resolute. I mean, perhaps he had hoped to play f4 or something like that. I honestly don't like black's position. I don't know what I would do. Bishop takes e5, pawn e5, knight e7. Trying to play knight c5 like a bad version of Dosodmirsky versus Rubinstein. It looks bad. Black's gonna have to defend very carefully. Why did he play knight g6, by the way? Maybe black shouldn't have played knight g6. I'm not sure. That's just kind of a one-move pony. Perhaps he could have played something more useful, like b6, bishop b7. Tried to influence either b5 or b6. Influencer. I'm a chess influencer. Well, budget guy, I do want to reserve this for black. Knight f5 rather than knight g6 in some position. Might be better. The knight on g6 sucks. You know, if you prevent knight f4 and you prevent e5, then he's like ridiculous. It's ridiculous, the knight on g6. Very bad. So it looks good. Yeah, and here you hesitated. I can't criticize people enough for doing this. They always do this like track knights. But this knight is important. It's doing its job. It's like controlling e4, just f4. And it's easy, of course, the engine is suggesting this move. But that's the natural move I would try to play if it works tactically. This is like a standard sort of plan. I mean, plus you kept your rook on f1, which is great. You didn't play rook f1 to e1. You kept it on f1. It supports f4, queen e2, rook a e1, move the king if necessary. You have very standard position. This is a mistake. One piece exchanged here is going to let him off the hook pretty big time. Two pieces and he's completely off the hook. In the words of my friend Dragan Kosic, just exchange two pieces and she will have no plan. I don't do the Balkan like accent too well. Just change 2 pieces, and she doesn't know how to play chess. Like you just do that here with black. This is a huge mistake fundamentally. Play f4. This was advice from a Balkan grandmaster on how to play against a tactical style player. Alright. The basic idea is you trade 2 pieces and they can't do anything. I never conceptualized chess in that way until Kosic explained it. But seriously, this is a huge mistake. Your space advantage goes down in value. But at least maybe pawn takes. I still don't think you have much now. But at least there's still some hope. The knight is bad on g6. But letting him exchange that off, he's almost completely off the hook now. White is almost nothing. For Magnus, maybe. For Magnus or Schieberspieler, we still have a sizable advantage. Yeah, I saw an interesting game today. Similar. Can we consider h6? Now you've got h4, h5. That's real. That's why I want to play h6. You still have something here. But I'm not sure it's enough. You're better, but not like you were. Not as big. But this looks really problematic. Very problematic. Of course, there's no safe place for your king. You want to lift your king and bring your rook over. But if you put your king on g2, you're on the screwy diagonal. I don't know about b4 or not. I would want to play h4. The problem is after h4, bishop b7, king h2, I don't think we have time to execute this h-file attack. Maybe black's just okay now. He's close to okay. This is just analysis. Guys, I gotta go, so we're gonna wrap this up. Actual game. He played b4 here. Very nice move there by the computer. Bishop d4. It's like a French. I would have found it on my own. But I have to admit, like, I understand why black played bishop f8, but you gotta think seriously about not leaving this diagonal. I understand bishop g7 feels safe, but seriously, maybe he made a huge blunder. You could still try like queen f4 and bishop d4 and have a positional advantage. But if he plays d4, your king side is going to get squishy. And it would be nice to be able to play bishop f1 and guard the king side. Yeah, d4 for black is dangerous. Very dangerous. So strangely, bishop f8 might be a mistake. And now you gotta play it, but you missed it. He should play d4. He's starting queen d5. It's huge. He's begging you to play bishop d4, but you kept going. Oh, he just keeps missing it. You both keep missing it. This was a good move, maybe taking with the f pawn. Now you found it. Nice. That's a problem. Now black might be lost after bishop d4. You found it too late. No, you didn't find it too late. You found it in time. I think like black might be lost here. He has no counterplay. a5 is too slow. Although he should try it. He should probably try a5. It looks like your attack is too fast. You gonna move the king up and sack a rook on h7 with a mating attack? That looks very, very dangerous. I don't mind this. So now if like king g2 followed by rook h1, oh my god. The engine has this insane tactic. Rook takes c3. That's so sick. I mean, if you want to be on the safe side, you could play king h2 and then rook h1. And I'm sure there's other ways for white to play. I think he's strategically lost here. There's no counterplay. You might even be able to win with just like a4 on the queen side. I was thinking down the h-file. There may be more than one way to win. So this happened and he had the tactic rook takes c3. And you did this. And he has rook takes c3 still. He tried a different version of it, but it's not as good. So you have rook h7 now? It's not quite good enough. Or is it? Is it? Do you have this? Oh yes, bishop h6. Oh crap. Never mind. We don't really want to play rook c1. I guess f3 is okay. And now you're just going to build up. Again, don't want to trade too much stuff here. You got a clear shot at g6 now. Possible bishop takes g6 followed by f5. Oof. You have that now? Bishop g6, f5 check? It's probably not enough. He goes back to h7. Because this almost works. I just want to see. It's very, very dangerous for black. It looks super dangerous. The computer says it's only slightly better for white. It's still a good try. It's looking like the last try. I mean, you're still better, but you're running out of time. Okay, so you accepted a draw here because of time. Hey, what's up? Raid from Jula. I was gonna raid you. Are you leaving? I'm just leaving. I was gonna raid your stream. Why are you raiding my stream? What's up, man? We're just finishing up our stream. Alright, 4.5 hours for you. Yeah, you were streaming all the time. Thanks, Pop G. Guys, check out Pop G. He's streaming almost every day. I was just leaving, but I don't have the endurance. I only do like 3-hour streams. I can't do the 4.5 hour. Budget guy, good game. I mean, you played well. Just like some details, it looks like you had better stuff. Pop Jula, thanks for the raid, guys. We're gonna be back on Friday. Check out Pop G, Grandmaster, and fantastic, awesome Bullet Blitz player. You're welcome, Blabix. We'll see you guys. You like my Panda impersonation? He usually does it himself. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for submitting the games.
Hey, thanks for the raid. I know you like my voice. Bob thinks I'm sexy. Anyway, guys, we'll see you later. Tomorrow, Friday. Check out Pop G as well. Okay, see you tomorrow, Friday morning Blitz. Streaming every day, Monday through Friday, and Sundays. Don't forget the streamer battle on Sunday and our simul. Next stream Friday morning, 11 a.m. CST. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.